Senator Rothman, Chairman Rothman, thank you for taking a few minutes. I know that this is a difficult time for a lot of folks in politics right now. I want to ask you about what happened with Charlie Kirk and sort of the situation we have with political violence in this country and how to address that. First of all, what have the conversations been the past 24 hours with your colleagues and folks you're talking to?
Yeah, I knew Charlie Kirk. I met him when he was 18 years old. It was in 2012 at the convention, and got to know him over the last 13 years and watched what he did. Was so impressed with how he handled himself and what he accomplished, the way he was able to talk to young people, a generation that I think was starving to hear the message he had. I've talked to lots of our mutual friends and people who worked for Charlie and knew Charlie even better than I did. I mean, we were certainly acquaintances, not friends, but dear friends of his I've talked to in the last. And we're all in shock. We're sad, but also we knew that Charlie knew that he's in heaven right now. His faith was, if you listen to his conversations on college campuses, he talked about his faith all the time. I mean, he believed that life on earth is inconsequential. He's going to do all the good he could in the short time he could, and he'd be in heaven. And that does not make it right or better, but it does bring me comfort knowing that Charlie's in heaven with our mutual friend Foster Freeze, who probably was there greeting him. So, but you're right. There is no place for political violence in America. It has to be rejected. Every one of us in this business has to say, this shall not be the norm. And not just, the actions itself, but like we need to tone down the rhetoric that would inspire or incite someone to do something horrible like this, or firebomb the governor's mansion or kill legislators in Minnesota. I mean, we have a responsibility to not just reject the violence, but reject the rhetoric that someone might hear and not understand that that's just rhetoric, that's not a call to action.
You just mentioned multiple incidents of violence that we have seen really just recently. Yeah. So we have unfortunately been here before. What do you think can be done differently? What do you think would help the country to turn that corner?
Yeah, look, and it's not new. I mean, I got involved in politics because of Ronald Reagan, and 3 months into Reagan's administration, I, as a middle schooler, watched in horror after school the president being shot. A couple of years before that, Gerald Ford was twice assassinated. I mean, our current president, our nominee, Donald Trump, twice in last year had assassination attempts. One that was very similar, ominously similar to what happened to Charlie Kirk, where it was a rifleman on top of a roof, it appears. So I think what we have to do is what I mentioned earlier, which is we in this business of politics need to make it clear to those people out there, many of them who are disturbed. I mean, if you kill someone you don't know, that is a mental illness. There's something wrong with you. That we have to let them know that this is, we're human beings. We're all have worth. We're all in this for the right reason, I believe, and that we need to treat each other better with more civility. So, I mean, that's what I think we have to do. We can harden our lives and we can be paralyzed from fear. But let's be clear. In the United States of America, you have a constitutional right to say what you want to say, and you should not have to fear for your life for having a political opinion, which was all Charlie was doing. And he was trying to do it respectfully and going to places where he got to confront people who didn't agree with him, and he tried to debate with them. And I watched a lot of his debates, and they were done civilly. I mean, sometimes irreverently, but he spoke the truth because he believed in the truth.
What do you think his impact has been? How will he be remembered?
Yeah. I mean, look, his legacy is his two beautiful children. It just breaks my heart. I knew his parents. I met his parents. Had long conversations with them. His legacy is that there's a whole generation that came out and voted for President Trump because for the last 12 years, Charlie Kirk has gone to their college campuses and their high school auditoriums and spoke the truth to them. And it's a generation that I believe was starving to hear the truth. He didn't apologize. He didn't, try to sweet talk his beliefs. He said, "This is the truth. This is what I believe." And it's our founding principles of America and conservative principles and his Judeo-Christian faith. He was smart. He knew what he was talking about and so well read. And if you watch those debates, I mean, he really wasn't fair how much smarter he was than the people asking him questions. But I thought he also handled himself with civility and tried to be kind. I heard a quote this morning, Lauren. When a tyrant dies, his rule ends. When a martyr dies, his rule just begins. I have a feeling that Charlie Kirk is going to be influencing American politics for many, many years. We're going to look at him. These young people look on him as a martyr, similar to JFK. It's just absolutely tragic. I was thinking this morning that our mutual friend died at 81, the one who introduced me to Charlie. And Charlie could have had 50 more years to impact this country. And him not being here is tragic. But I also know that he died doing what he believed in and what he loved to do, which was to talk about how great America was and talk about how great his faith was. So.
Are you worried that this incident and the others that we've seen are going to discourage people from getting involved in politics, people who could make a difference?
Yeah, and really, look, that's what terrorism does. Terrorism is this is September 11th. I mean, the worst day of my America in my lifetime when we had our attacks 24 years ago. Terrorism is a tactic meant to silence people, right? Meant to scare you into submission. And I am worried. I'm worried because it's a tough enough business just based on the rhetoric. We depend in America on having people to serve, government of, for, and by the people. And of course it fears me. But let's be clear. I'm a state senator. There is no more risk to my life. There's actually way more risk to the lives of the men and women who put on the uniforms of our police and the firefighters that go running into burning buildings and the men and women who serve in uniform in our country. I was a Marine. They're the ones that are putting themselves in harm's way. And maybe they can be more prepared for it, but I'm not afraid. I'm not going to be based on fear not speak up to what I believe is the truth. In fact, I talked to a lot of people that worked with Charlie. They're all saying, "Hey, we need to work harder now. We need Charlie would want us to carry on, and we need to speak the truth even louder."
From a practical standpoint, when it comes to safety and security, and I'm not talking about backing down and not doing things, but I'm talking about just the decisions that are made to keep people safe at rallies, to keep candidates safe. In your position as a state party chair, what do you look at now? Does this prompt you to have conversations about what else we can do to keep people safe at political events, keep candidates safe? Is there anything else that you do now in having those conversations?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have to be vigilant. We have to be more situationally aware. I sort of learned that in the Marine Corps that you have to pay attention to your environment and look for threats and look for where risks are. I hate to say that. I don't want to see a hardened community. We like doing town hall meetings. We like talking to voters. I live in the area. I go to the grocery store. I see people at sporting events, and I don't think, for me personally, I'm going to change my life because of attacks on elected officials or political people. But I do think that it's important for us to be more aware and maybe take less risks. But look, I also
do you think that might mean having more things inside, for
yeah,
example?
sure.
Because you referenced how President Trump, there at the rally, there was somebody on top of a roof, and then same thing here. Like you said, you can't harden everything, but do you think maybe having more things inside could be a way to go?
Yeah, I think unfortunately that's where we're going to see that. But I also think, we've got a mental health crisis in this country. And as I said, if you kill someone who you don't know, there is something mentally wrong with you. And we need to do a better job at identifying those people who have these issues, and certainly not allowing repeat offenders, and not allow people to make threats and not respond to them. And so just to be more aware. But it's not just the political violence. I mean, there's just way too much violence in this country. I mean, it's just, to watch that poor girl from Ukraine have her stabbed on a train in Charlotte, or the shooting at the Catholic school a couple weeks ago, or any of these school shootings. I mean, the violence has to stop. It's not civilized. And I want to live in a free country where you're free to do whatever you want, but we have to also stop the violence, and that's gonna require a lot of work. It's a sad day. It's a sad day for Charlie and his family and all those people who knew him as friends. But it's also a sad day for our republic, which relies on a healthy debate on issues. I mean, we've been through a civil war where we fought over slavery and debated over slavery and fought a war over it. We don't want that. We don't want civil wars. We want to be able to have respectful debate. It was Charlie Kirk who said, someone said, "Why do you come here and talk to us?" He said, "Because when you stop talking, that's when real problems happen in our relationships and in our country." So we just have to be more civilized and more kind and more respectful of each other.
Right, Senator, thank you so much for your time. And I'm so sorry for your loss personally as well.
Well, thank you.